it isn't one of my songs of the year though. Before we jump into what our best songs of 2019 are, I wanted to ask you: did you have any thoughts on just like the singles or maybe like the non album thoughts regarding music this year?
I mean, nothing we haven't said before. I think generally singles are just becoming more important than albums. I think to a lot of people, albums are just an arrangement of songs now. They're like the concept or the cohesiveness of an album is often not um, on the mind for listeners anymore with this, on demand uh, listening environment that, we're so used to at this point. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, you see it more in hip hop, but just the prevalence of singles sometimes being all an artist is going on the radio show to promote, it's
Mhm.
just kind of how we've changed. So, um, I'm just looking at my list real quick. I would say just about all of these are in fact singles, but ultimately I still think, the album deep cuts, almost are kind of like more fun to talk
Mhm.
about with people just because it does seem like singles really just dominate all the playlists these days. But I mean, do you have any thoughts about that? I mean,
You know, when I found myself going through the songs this year that really stood out to me as like the best songs, and like I said, I'm not including songs from any of the albums we talked about before. I think what I found standing out to me um, was just how at the top of my list it was people who have come up almost out of nowhere, and it really feels like the internet's influence has like started to really show its teeth in these. I mean, obviously people like Justin Bieber who came up through YouTube have dominated the charts in the past, but so looking through the ones right at the top, I don't want to spoil anything. Like one of them is a teen sensation we just talked about, who was pretty much famous before her music ever really backed it up. Another one was someone that kind of became internet famous this year with the release of a new album. Another one was someone whose music was stolen from them and released prior. So like just
oh,
like the
okay,
effect that the internet had in these really
yeah,
stands out to me.
mm-hmm.
Just like another one is a rock band that I'll talk about in a second, who I think the internet caught their single and really brought gave them a lot more attention than they ever would have gotten. So
Mm-hmm.
just the I think the impact that the internet has on how these stars
Right,
rise into the attention stands
yeah.
out.
TikTok can just make you now, you get
Yeah.
hot there. That's all it can take.
Uh, follow dad jokes or whatever Adam's TikTok is, or don't follow
Dad
it.
joke Jesus.
There you dad joke. Jesus Christ. All right, why don't we start? I want to go first. Number 10 for me. I cheated a little bit. I picked two because I couldn't differentiate.
Mm,
I wanted to have a perfect pop song on this list, right?
mm-hmm.
And it came down to two for me. Carly Rae Jepsen, "Want You in My Room," and Taylor
Mm.
Swift, "I Think He Knows." These
Ooh,
two
okay.
songs to me are just fucking pop magic.
Jams.
Yeah, just every time I hear them, I find myself bobbing along. My mood instantly increases. The Taylor song, probably her catchiest off her new album. I don't know if I'll say best, but catchiest for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just when it kind of comes in, when her vocals just like rise at the end, it's just like,
Heartbeat.
yep. And Carly Rae Jepsen, this song was one of my top five most listened to songs of 2019 on
Oh, I didn't
Spotify.
notice that. Wow.
Yeah, "Want You in My Room." Just it's like bubblegum. I keep chewing it over and over, and I don't get sick of it. So, yeah, these two songs are pure pop magic. Go listen to them. Any thoughts on that, Dave? Saw you laughing.
Uh, no. Shout out Carly Rae Jepsen, another great album, another album overlooked by the Grammys, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of jams on there, and yeah, Taylor. She didn't make our album list, but definitely got back in those critical graces, and I think he knows is just kind of the easiest on that track list just to throw on because it's just really fun and kind of that classic Taylor that we've, most people really started to like since like the Red days.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I agree. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Slide Away by Miley Cyrus. Uh,
Ooh,
yeah, I think this is her best song.
ever?
Yeah, I do. Um,
Nah, it's the Climb, dog.
Yeah, boring, lame. But you're not alone in that sentiment, I guess.
It's the climb.
This really kind of like blew me away. This came out after that She Is Coming EP, which we actually like I think had positive takeaways from because it was like Miley kind of getting back to her most successful phase of her career from a sonic perspective. And then hearing Slide Away, where she's kind of getting into finally moving on from Liam Hemsworth, the loss of her house in the Thousand Oaks fire, kind of talking about some really personal, tough stuff she's been through, but ultimately just kind of reminding everyone that she's a really good vocalist and
Hmm.
I think a bit of an underrated songwriter when she's focusing on the right type of sounds. And particularly the, what was it, the VMA performance? Some performance she did. It's on YouTube. The live version of this song where we get to
Sounds
really
great.
hear Miley's pipes. I think it's better than the studio recording. It's quite superb. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love this song.
No, it's a good choice. Miley is interesting, right? I mean, she's such a unique personality. I was laughing because you said she's finally getting over her relationship with Liam Hemsworth. Didn't they just like break up beginning of this year?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
She's finally getting over it. No, I'm kidding though.
Well, they've
Yeah,
been on
this
again, off
song is
again
awesome.
before,
Yeah,
so yeah.
I understand what you're saying. But no, I agree. This is a good pick. Um, number 9 for me. You know, following Taylor Swift, I had to put a Kanye song. Use This Gospel. Kanye
Sure.
West clips and Kenny G. Um, yeah, so Jesus is King came and went. I think a bit disappointing for those who were hoping Kanye would drop a record that was as mind blowing as they usually are. But this song was definitely my favorite song off of that album, and I think this song is just absolute flames. You know, Kanye sounds great at the beginning. It's very simple with the beat. You know, there's not much bass to this, I guess. That would be like my one critique of it. But when Clips comes in, they just absolutely murder it, and then it it leads into a Kenny G solo that then leads to like just an awesome outro with a lot of bass to it. So, um, for as much as Jesus is King was disappointing, and I think people continue to just kind of say, why would I give Kanye attention at this point? Use This Gospel, I think, still shows that Kanye has it and can have it, but um, maybe he needs to kind of find his way back to be more consistent with the sound. Um, I'm guessing you Use This Gospel wasn't your number 9, so what do you got?
My number 9, I forgot to add the photo. More on Kanye real quick. I thought about picking a song of his, and I didn't. And it's like, do I feel bad about that? Because I didn't pick the album on the list. And
Do you feel bad about it? Don't feel bad.
well, I don't know, because like I really liked Follow God. Like
Mm-hmm.
Follow God is a banger, but I guess it's not like super memorable. We're also holding it to the Kanye standard.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel weird not picking a Kanye song, but I didn't pick a Kanye song.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my number 9 is Meet Again by Maxo Cream. He dropped this single back in January. The album came out, I want to say back in July. Brandon Banks, his second album. And Maxo Cream, not a famous rapper from Houston. He collabs with his more famous Houston contemporaries on this, Travis and Megan. And Meet Again, I think, is probably the most accessible Maxo song just because it's him talking about his really interesting and I think kind of robust come up and story
Mm-hmm.
about running drugs and being in jail and some real street shit. And this song also has an amazing beat and it's like fun to listen to. And his verses, like this, the storytelling strengths that is what Max the Cream is all about, I think just really shines. So definitely an underrated, under listened to rap song this year. But yeah, I think pound for pound, perhaps one of the best. So,
What a great name, Maxo Cream.
mm-hmm.
Oof, fire. Number 8 for me, a song I know that you like as well. BM by Black Midi.
Oh,
She
sure.
moves with a purpose.
It's a good pick. Inspired choice.
Thanks, man.
Schlagenheim.
You know, this the album was probably at the back end of my 20s, maybe just in terms of I didn't feel like a lot of the songs popped off to me as much
Yeah.
as with lasting, but this song is so memorable for the vocal performance. I mean, it's so unique, and it's like it's such a weird song. It's like
Yeah.
this thumping like over and over like drum, but
They're weird dudes.
yeah, but man, this it's just a really great rock song. And when they start to like lose it at the end, and the guitar just starts screeching, and they start like screaming, and the drums are just fucking crashing down. It's everything that makes rock music awesome, and like hard rock music awesome. And I feel so excited to have a band like Black Midi kind of moving into the conscious of music, because it feels like I think this kind of gets put on up and coming rock bands a lot, that they can be like the saviors of rock. But I do think that Black Midi could start to bring a more um, a more traditional hard rock sounding sound back into mainstream. Now they are weird, so they could take any direction with their music moving forward. But uh, I hope to hear more songs like BM from Black Midi. Um, but yeah, I have a feeling it was not a song that's going to be on yours, so I definitely wanted to highlight them a bit. Um, I'm looking here. I think I have only. No, I have a couple more rock songs on here, but I only think I had like three or four in total, which is a bit of a move away, because in my albums I feel like it was fairly well diversified. What's your number 8, Dave?
My number 8 is Family and Loyalty by Gangstar featuring J. Cole. The first Gangstar song in 16 years, the lead single off that new album. What's the name of the album? One of
J.
the
Cole, the
best.
feature king, the best yet, or something
One
like
of the
that.
best. Yeah, the Gangstar album, which I thought about picking for the list, ultimately just became an honorable mention. Um, because it's half a posthumous album.
One of the best yet, by the way.
One of the best yet, right? Because it's half a posthumous album, um, felt a little sacrilege to pick it, but Premier did a really good job with what the verses they had, and as you said, J. Cole, truly the feature king the last 2 years. He's really risen in estimation in my book in terms of as an artist. He's been a superstar for so long, but really kind of coming to his own. And this is one of his best verses ever, and it fits the song to a T. And just about giving you that 90s sensibility, that throwback lyrical sound on a really tough beat, a primo beat at that. But also, like, you can just bump this song.
Yep.
Like, it's simple, but it's great.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I wish we had mentioned this before. I really enjoyed this Gangstar album, and just an album we didn't think we'd be reviewing in 2019, but we ended up, and we loved it. Number 7 for me, another rock band, and not a very popular rock band, more up and coming, Mannequin Pussy, and their song "Drunk 2," which, as I was putting
Interesting.
this list together, it reminded me a lot of last year, how Camp Cope was getting a lot of love for their song "The Opener." Right? It talked about these issues of females not getting the attention, being looked down upon within the rock world, that they can only be the opener, they can't be the headlining act, and all this stuff. And Drunk 2, tells a story of this abusive relationship, and how all their friends are telling them to get out of this relationship, and they're so strong for staying with this person, and how they finally like basically say goodbye to this relationship. And not only does it feel incredibly empowering, but it's a really, really well crafted song. And Mannequin Pussy, they rock, man. Like they
They
bring a
do.
ton of energy to their sound, and they may not be the most refined band at this point, but there's a lot of feeling in what they make. And Drunk 2, I think, is probably the best song off of that album, and also just a really fantastic song in general. So, my number seven. What do you got for your number seven?
My number seven for me, something we just talked about before, that'd be Little Sims 101 FM. I
Mm.
don't have to belabor the point, but 101 FM, like because that beat kind of has uh, an Asian vibe
Yep.
to it, and then you hear Sims really ride a really fun beat like that, but still not sacrificing her really detailed lyrics in all of her intricate verses. It's a bop that still has a message, and
Yep.
like most of that album, Gray Area. So yeah, Little Sims, definitely an underrated song, like all the songs on that album, but I think pretty special.
Great choice. Number six for me, an album that was my honorable mention was "I" by Bon Iver, and the song "Hey Ma," one of the singles off the album. It's my number six of the year. Really emotional song, moving, talking about um, like staying in touch with the things that actually matter to you, staying connected with family, staying connected with who you are as a person, not letting wealth corrupt you. And this is immediately upon release of the song one of like the top five Bon Iver songs ever. And I think that's saying something because he's a very well established artist, incredibly talented, and just a really beautiful song. So I feel like this kind of highlights everything Bon Iver does well:
Mm,
songwriting,
sure.
song crafting. Definitely one of my favorite songs of this year. So my number six, Hey Ma, Bon Iver. What do you got for your number six?
So for me, I said before that if we think about rap in 2019, we think of the ladies really killing it across the board and a bunch of new stars like Megan Thee Stallion and Doja Cat, Saweetie, the list goes on, City Girls. But if you look at the dudes, there was only one guy who rose his profile to this level, and that would be DaBaby, releasing 2 albums during the year, lots of good features, hot songs. A lot of people would pick Suge for their list, but I actually chose Bop off the second album.
uh,
Fantastic video, but more importantly, I think it's similar to Suge. You know, it's that DaBaby flow. We all know it well at this point, but for whatever reason, I think that song I think I like the beat more, so I wanted to go with this one. But I mean, you placeholder for any kind of DaBaby song. Well, I think I don't like his albums quite as much as other people do, just because I feel like he has been a bit samey in his sound to this point. The energy he's brought on his singles and the success those singles have had, it's tough to underrate those because he was just a whirlwind this year, and these songs are they're bangers. And Bop was my favorite one.
Bop is a great choice. And this music video rocks. The Jabberwockies, man. Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
awesome. All right, moving on. My number five, Light Years by The National. Probably,
Jesus Christ,
yeah,
the
we're
National, huh?
about to take it down here a bit. This
Way
is
to
a
invalidate the list.
this is a great song, man. It's so
Everyone
simple.
unsubscribe.
It's so simple. The piano on this is just like a simple chord progression and a couple of keys, and it sounds so good. And Matt Berenger sings so beautifully over this, and it's the closing song on the record, and they also had a visual album starring Alicia Vikander that came out with this, and it really beautifully wraps up that as well. And yeah, just I think probably one of the most beautiful songs that came out this year, and it's so simple, and I love it. So you may hate the National or may not like this song, but
I don't remember the song at all, to
I,
be honest.
it's very memorable to me. So my number five, and also if you're following these and you think, hey, I like these songs or I want to hear these songs, we do have a playlist, Nowstalgia Best of 2019, where almost all these songs are featured on it. Dave, you number five.
Number 5 for me is Robbery by the now late Juice WRLD. I
Rip,
never had
rip,
any
rip.
plans to pick the his second album, his final album, Death Race for Love, but Robbery and Hear Me Calling, the two big singles off that album, definitely I think are at the top of his catalog. And I went with Robbery, but it's kind of just like the perfect distillation of what Juice WRLD brought to the table. This, uh, combination of singing and rapping in a really, I think, genre blending way that was still true to his hip hop roots from the get go. And obviously, it's, we talked about his passing recently. You can check that out on the channel. But he, of all the genre blenders, of all the SoundCloud rappers, kind of in this movement, he was the one making the most, I think, accessible music, and that's kind of why he rose to the top even faster than a lot of his peers did. And a song like Robbery, where he just really gets really candid, like a lot of his other songs, about his struggles and his hurt, and it's just really relatable to the fans, anyone who listens. So yeah, I think this is I think it's an inspiring song to a lot of people. You can look for the acoustic videos people post of it, but unfortunately, it was probably the last great song he made.
Yeah, that's too bad. Major rip. We recently talked about his passing and kind of gave our thoughts on it, so check out that breakout. But a huge loss. Moving forward, though, number 4 for me was 17 by Sharon Van Etten.
There you go.
A decent album, but this song in particular is just a masterwork in songwriting. Talking about what it means to be 17, and also what it means to not be 17, to be older, and looking back at that time of life, and reflecting on age and people kind of coming up behind. And we're going to be talking about some up and comers in my next few songs. So this felt like appropriate to put her this high. And just a really beautifully crafted song. And even the way it like kind of enters in, it feels like the song almost feels like time moving by in a sense. Kind of like you're like almost like driving a car through your life. Just a really, really great track. And Sharon Van Etten, one of like the sneakily most consistently solid indie rock artists out there. Probably doesn't get enough credit for how good she has been. So I'm glad that she's getting some shine on a lot of lists, end of year list with 17. What do you got number 4?
Number 4 for me. So I made 3 repeats for what we did for with the albums list. So check that out if you're just watching the songs breakout. But it's Money Machine by 100 Gex. And this, not to repeat myself, but this is the I think the most accessible Gex song. If they had some that was friendly to radio, it would be Money Machine. But it still has all that manic energy of taking influences from literally everything that the rest of the album has. So it's my favorite song off the album, and perhaps one of the more tame ones, but it's just really cool and still unlike just about anything else I heard this year. So Money Machine by 100 Gex.
Good choice. Number 3 for me, Straight Outta Mumbai by Jai Paul.
Does this count?
It counts, man. It counts. I've seen it on other year-end lists, so I'm putting it on mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did it leak? 2012?
2012.
Yeah.
However, when did I hear it? 2019. So.
Okay. As long as you can rationalize it to yourself.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right? The lies we tell ourselves.
Correct. We make the rules here.
Jai Paul rules, and it's a travesty what happened to him, because there's so much in just these leaks, and they were released this year, more refined, more produced,
mastered.
Yeah, and it feels like out of all the tracks I put out, Straight Outta Mumbai would have been one that back in 2012, when this was stolen and leaked online, could have just like dominated the charts, because it feels a little bit like God, what was that Jay-Z song where he like infused like Indian sound to it? God, I gotta think of the name, but it just feels like it takes from so many different worldly influences. Like it sounds a bit Indian, it sounds a bit Asian, it sounds like American dance at the same time, and it's just so catchy, and the song just kind of spins around in your head, and you feel like you're being transported to different parts of the world on it, and it just rules. And Jai Paul as a DJ producer is just so talented. I want to see him do more.
Yeah,
I hope he does more.
yeah. I hope he's able to get, I mean, do what he wants. But I just wish he was a little more of a public figure, just because there's such mystery around him, and leak whatever bait ones, whatever this album's called.
Like 4/12, whatever.
Yeah, the date it leaked. It was kind of put out without fanfare. It was kind of just internet critics being like, yo, big deal, big deal. These songs are like legitimately available now. And um, you think because of the creativity he has, if he like, I know he has like the Paul Institute, but if he wanted to really branch out, I think he could. But if this is all we get, I won't be too mad. Was the song you were thinking of for Jay-Z, Big Pimpin'?
No, I was thinking about the when he was on Punjabi MC's song.
Oh shit, okay.
Yes, that
Yeah, it's
song
funny.
rules.
I searched it and there's a tweet from 2015. What's that Jay-Z song with an Arabic beat behind it? So
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean,
was thinking about one where he
not that Jai Paul's Arabic, but yeah.
no.
All right,
Um
got it.
anyways, yeah, sorry, that was what I was thinking of. What's your number 3, Dave?
Number 3, another repeat offender here. That would be too many pictures. That would be Lana Del Rey, The Greatest. The culture was lit. I had a ball.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I've seen The Greatest on a bunch of lists so far, and I was like, well, there's a lot of good songs in this. Let me be a little different. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, nah, this is the best song on the album. So I got to pick this one. This is I think Lana Del Rey just like at the peak of her powers. She can be candid and also cutting in her observations, and we both liked the album a shit ton, and it was just cool as someone who was not a fan going in to really see the vision, I think, more fully realized for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of the tip of the spear.
Yep. No, this is the best song off that album, and it's an amazing album. So that says a lot. But I think everybody's like end of the decade like Instagram posts are gonna be the culture was lit and I had a ball. I'm calling it now, or at least those who know.
Let me write that in my notes.
Number 2 for me. You talked a lot about her a second ago. Billie Eilish, Bad Guy.
Okay.
This song is just so much fun, and it's just like pop perfection mixed with emo and funkiness and goofiness, and
great video.
It just feels like everything that really makes Billie Eilish such an exciting person to be tuned into as an artist. She's gonna go places, and it's because she can make songs like this at this age. Just awesome. It kind of reminds me of Austin Powers too every time I listen to it for some reason.
Oh, that's
not sure
funny.
why, but
yeah. Piggybacking off of that, my number 2 is My Strange Addiction by Billie Eilish.
There we go.
Song with the famous No Billy, the office drop.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah, it's just Bad Guy's definitely the biggest hit off the album, probably the best song. I tried to pick something else, and she had plenty of hits off this, so it's not like no one ever heard this song or anything. But Bad Guy and My Strange Addiction, and even a lot of the other cuts, all the Good Girls Go to Hell, Wish You Were Gay. There's a lot of jams on this, but it's just kind of cool to see her understated delivery be able to ride her brother Phineas's production to such a point that like these are still like pop bangers, even though they're really like alternative pop, which is why I picked the album on my list. But yeah, she has the hit records now.
Yep,
it makes sense. It all makes sense now.
Absolutely. All right, we're wrapping it up. Number 1 for me, a song I turned you on to at the beginning of the year, and I was like, this is a really fun song, awesome pop song, and this artist pretty much became like one of the most popular artists of the year.
Little did we
Lizzo,
know.
Juice. Yeah, at the time we both like, yeah, this song sounds great. Well, let's add it to the playlist. Nowstalgia Best 2019 if you're on Spotify, and we were like, it'll be interesting. Why don't we review her album? And then by the end of the year, Lizzo is literally everywhere. Every time I'm on Twitter, I see something about Lizzo, whether it's a meme, whether it's someone using her song, whether it's her with her ass out at Laker games. Like, she's everywhere. And she's awesome. And she's such a great symbol for body positivity, for femininity, for just a lot of positive things. Her music is pretty much all positive, and I think Juice, because there were songs of hers that were more popular this year. Truth Hurts comes to mind.
Good as
Not a
hell.
song from this year, so I had to pick the song from this year I like the most, and that's
Hmm.
Juice. And I think it's her best song from this year. And Lizzo rules. She's great.
Yeah. Um,
Lizzo thoughts. Give me your Lizzo thoughts, Dave.
yeah, I mean, like Billie Eilish, like DaBaby, like Megan Thee Stallion, someone who just became a superstar kind of instantaneously once those older songs really started to blow for her. And she had, I think, some internet clout critically beforehand with those other projects,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, well, no one saw it getting to this level. And even if she's had some antics of late, the other songs on that record, besides the big hits, are all really good. Songs like Jerome and songs like Juice, I think, are
Yep.
actually just underrated and under remarked upon songs at this point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't pick the album, but for our list, but yeah, it's hard to talk about 2019 music without talking about Lizzo, and that's not just because she was popular, but also because she was making interesting quality pop music that's a little different.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. You're number one though, Dave.
So my number one is Gone by Charlie XCX and Christine and the Queens. Did not pick Charlie on the album list, but when I was making my songs, I was like, this song immediately jumped off the page to me when I heard it as one of those singles for the Charlie album.
Yep.
And it's just really, really great songwriting, which has always been Charlie's strength. And it also happens to fit into that alt future pop sound that she's been pioneering the past few years. Even while a lot of those songs are not becoming big hits, I think everyone is paying attention, is understanding the kind of ground she's been kind of laying, and seeing everyone else kind of follow in those footsteps, including Billie Eilish, is really cool. But Gone's just that's just a banger, man. That's a pop banger that I think really, really holds up and really brought my attention to Christine the Queens. And
Yeah, Christine
yeah,
the Queens are awesome.
pretty easy pick for number one for me, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, this was on my honorable mentions. It's a great choice, and Charlie XCX, probably the most like auteur pop artist that's out there. I
Definitely.
guess she's just
Unless you count like
fantastic.
FKA Twigs.
Yeah, right. Well, give me a couple honorable mentions, and we'll reset our list, and we'll head out.
Sure. Shout out Follow God from Kanye, Joke Ting by Goldlink, Kids by Rich Brian, Ransom by Lil Tecca. That was my number 2 listen to song on Spotify. There's always a banger. There's always a banger to play. I like tons of Ariana songs from the new album. Only Child by Tierra Whack. My number 1 artist on Spotify this year is Blueface. So shout out, Bleed It. Shout out. Actually, all of his really good songs are from 2018. But shout out, Bleed It. Shout out, like Off-White from Little Pump, some nonsense shit. Shout out, open the shit up by the Higher Brothers. I love Chinese trap music now. Yeah. I got honorable mentions for days. What about you?
I only have a couple that we didn't talk about. Back in My Body by Maggie Rogers. That whole album is
Love
really
that
good.
one.
We should give her more love. What Can We Do? Anderson .Paak and Nate Dogg. That song just feels like a 70s throwback, and it rules. Peach by Kevin Abstract. That was an album that I really liked at the time, and that song has really stuck with me a lot. How Many Problems We Got? A lot. 21 Savage. Again, close to making my top 10 list. And then I think you covered most of the other ones here as I'm looking through. Yeah. Oh, and Midsection by Kate Shada and Pharrell. Still nice. my favorite song from that album. Killing it. Dave, go ahead.
Also shout out Dark Web by TGX6. Scam rap, one of the biggest new subgenres in hip hop this year, coming out of nowhere. Really, really fun. Yeah, I posted a 99 song rap playlist on Spotify where it was 99 different artists from 99 different rap songs. So you can consider those all honorable mentions and tons of variety there. So It's out there if you want more Rex.
More Rex. Dave, can you just give me your 10 to 1 again?
Yes, sir. Slide Away by Miley Cyrus. Meet Again by Maxo Cream. Family and Loyalty by Gangstar featuring Jermaine Cole. 101 FM by Lil Sims. Bop by DaBaby. Robbery by Juice World. R.I.P. Money Machine by 100 Gex. The Greatest by Lana Del Rey. My Strange Addiction by Billie Eilish. And Gone by Charlie XCX featuring Christine and the Queens.
My 10 was a split. I Think He Knows, Taylor Swift. Watching My Room, Carly Rae Jepsen. 9, This Gospel, Kanye West featuring Clips and Kenny G. 8 was BM by Black Midi. 7, Drunk 2, Mannequin Pussy. 6, Hey Ma by Bon Iver. 5, Light Years, The National. 4, 17, Sharon Van Etten. 3, Straight Outta Mumbai, Jai Paul. 2, Bad Guy, Billie Eilish. And 1, Lizzo, Juice. That wraps it up. So talking best TV and movies from 2019, probably early in 2020, because we want to catch up before we really give our best of the year list. But stay tuned, because we also are going to be dropping that heat every week, dog. We're going to be bringing all the content, all the culture. So hit that subscribe. Go to youtube.com/nostalgiapod to watch all of our old videos and get all our opinions. And we'll see you next year. Peace out.